Hello, my name is Andrew Phillips, and today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my professional development journey over the past year. So this journey began through our professional practice course here at NBS, through a series of classroom lectures as well as activities held outside of the classroom that would contribute to the students' professional development. We use the Pebble Pad as a platform to establish our development plans and then track our progress through the activities we partake in. And within this platform, we had the ability to reflect on our experience and then use that information to continue our growth throughout the year. Now, when setting up my Pebble Pad, there were a few questions, strengths and weaknesses and values that we were asked to establish for ourselves. The first value that I established for myself was family. I have a very close connection with my family, and they helped me and influenced me, and have helped me become the man that I am today. The second value would be helping others. So I come from a family of healthcare providers, from nurses and doctors to even teachers and firefighters. So I have a very strong connection with my family and the work that they do of helping those in need. So that's something that I've always felt has kind of influenced myself and the activities that I partake in. Additionally, the value of leadership. I've always felt myself gravitating towards leadership roles, even at a young age in high school athletics. I always felt like I was gravitated toward that leadership position, and used that type of role to help others. And so from high school to college, being a leader on those teams and a leader in the classroom, I've always felt was a position for me where I could not only help my teammates on the field, but be able to be there for them and help them off the field if they needed it, whether it's athletically, academically, or personally. I could be that person that they'd be comfortable coming to and having me help them with their situations if they needed it. The next two values that I had selected were growth and career. So when I initially started my undergraduate degree, I wanted to follow in my family's footsteps as a healthcare provider. I quickly found out that that was not the route for me, so I had to reassess my career choice and the values that I wanted to put forth towards my career. And this initiated a major stage of growth for me, having to reinvent myself and figure out what I wanted to do and how I was going to achieve those first two goals, those maintain those two values of helping others and leadership through my career and growing into that new position that I hadn't previously seen myself in before. So that growth really kickstarted in my undergraduate degree, and I continued to feel those effects and see those effects throughout the years of undergrad, a year of working, and even now here in my master's degree. So setting up my development plan, there are three goals that I had established for myself as primary focus. The first one was an academic goal of completing my master's course. So upon my graduation of undergrad, I went into the workforce for about a year. Um, Found it very difficult to get into the healthcare field like I wanted immediately upon arrival into the workforce. So decided I was going to go back to school, receive higher education through this master's degree. So that was my first goal, was to complete my master's degree. My second goal of medium time frame was to become financially independent. So obviously, once I can complete this my academic goals of receiving the higher education, I want to be able to use that uh, and put that forward to a career that allows me to support myself independently. Um, and then lastly, was to achieve my overall career goal of becoming a hospital administrator. Um, all of which, I need to have that higher education. I need to become financially independent first, establish myself in a career, gain the experiences that I need before I'm able to achieve a goal such as becoming a hospital administrator. Um, So what CPD did for me, in addressing my plan, it allowed me to kind of look back at what I had done during my undergraduate studies, as well as the difficulties that I experienced getting into healthcare right away. Um, by coming back to school and choosing to diversify myself in business, I maintained that a similar approach to the communications degree that I achieved in undergraduate. As a communications major in my undergraduate studies, we learned everything from communication and marketing to the psychology of communication. So I kind of emulated that approach when coming here for business school, to have a diverse awareness of business, from operations of business to manufacturing, marketing, and even sales of business. So my professional development plan was to incorporate activities that gave me the opportunity to experience all the aspects of business and gain broad and a vast awareness of business practices. Um, some practices that I have done and some things that I've changed about myself. I've become more proactive for opportunities since experiencing those difficulties after my undergraduate coming in to a master's degree. I wanted to be much more proactive with opportunities that would allow me to gain experience to receive that diverse, broad awareness of business. So becoming more proactive with opportunities that the school offers for us as students to interact with businesses within the classroom and even outside of the classroom, to work with companies in a variety of stances, that allows me to gain experience and knowledge from those that are more established than me and use that experience to my benefit through my studies. What I learned about myself in this past year and along the way, um, I have become much more comfortable in the realm of business. So being more comfortable in conversation, approaching new opportunities, and partaking in classroom conversation, and even conversations outside of the classroom that continue on the content that we've been studying. I'm much more comfortable conversing about business and the opportunities and my opinions on certain things. So it definitely has gained me, I've definitely gained more confidence in the realm of business, as well as, me professionally understanding that when I'm in the classroom or when I'm partaking in some of these activities, there is always a professional aspect to life. So I've become more cognizant of that, and it has allowed me to continually put my best foot forward when I'm in those kind of situations, and put on the best me for all of the people that might be able to open some doors for me down the road. And I think that's really important to self-development. Um, in my undergraduate studies, I wasn't too focused on my self-image, and I don't think I took professional development seriously enough. So coming into a master's degree and having the opportunity to reassess my professional development, and my professional image at this stage in my life, I think was very valuable, and very important for me to continue to grow myself and develop and obtain some of the goals that I have set for myself, to establishing a social network that is beneficial to me. I've been able to see results of the professional development of myself through my social networking and through some of the contacts and the experiences that I've had over here. It all is thanks to the professional practice team and the professional practice course, that has helped me see the importance of professional development and really take advantage of the opportunities that the school has provided us with. So now I'm going to share with you guys a couple of the professional development activities that I partake in throughout the year. Um, so first up, we have the Stonebridge City Farm. This was a volunteer activity set up by the NTU Athletics Department, where the teams of NTU went to this farm and volunteered for the day. So we spent the day assisting this farm um, clean up their facilities. This trading post is actually now painted white. So we spent the day just helping them out, clean up their facilities, laying pavers, clearing weeds, painting, all those kind of activities. So this event occurred within the first 3 days of me arriving to Nottingham into the United Kingdom. So this was a wonderful experience that allowed me not only to connect with my new teammates, but also to interact with the different teams that we have here on campus, and was very beneficial and very enjoyable for me to, start interacting with students within the first 3 days of me arriving in a brand new country, um, and beginning new friendships with the other athletes. The next activity was the Thornbridge retreat. So this was an academic retreat through the business school, through NBS, that allowed students to go to the Thornbridge campus and interact with each other in a positive and productive manner. So on the left here is my team and I completing a scavenger hunt. And then on the right, I have some classmates and some advisors that also we partook in an abseiling session from a bridge. So this was just, again, another wonderful experience. It happened within the first 2 weeks of me arriving in the UK, and allowed me to connect and build the foundation of friendships and peers, with people in the NBS school, that really was just beneficial to kickstarting my experience here in the United Kingdom and really laying that groundwork for new people and getting to interact with each other. Next up, a big part of my year here was athletics. So I'm a member of the men's lacrosse team. Um, I can't say enough great things about these men, and the coaches and the trainers and strength and conditioning coaches. We spent a lot of time on the field, in the gym, in the training room, to have a successful season and get to, work with these young men and interact with them, understand their culture and how they do things. And ultimately to become Bucks national championships was a fantastic experience and a lifelong memory that I will cherish for a long time. Next up, I've shared with you guys an image of my class as well as Zhao and Georgie. So I chose this image to emulate some of the lectures, the guest lectures that the NBS school put on for students. One lecture in particular that I partook in was a Q&A session that Georgie and Zhao held. And the session was on entrepreneurship. And during that session, Zhao talked to us about his experience and the current business practices that he was doing, working with technology and agriculture and how those two subjects relate. Those lectures were very beneficial to see what real world practices are being used, as well as learn from the experiences of these successful businessmen and women, and continue to use that information in our classroom studies and throughout our modules. Next up, I included the consultation pictures from the consulting trip that we took to Portugal. So on the left is my class at our first meeting in Portugal. And then on the right is me accepting my certificate from Lewis, a corporate staff member of Delta Cafes. So this consultation was in Portugal, where we conducted a project in a market penetration proposal for an indirect market that Delta was looking at getting into, and getting the opportunity to meet with Lewis and interact with him and stay connected with him to this day was an excellent experience that definitely has contributed to some of my professional growth and development, including, growing my social network circle. Um, all of those experiences were fantastic. There's many more, but those were just some of the ones that I wanted to highlight, that I think have had the biggest impact on me and the most beneficial impact on me and my studies and my success here as an international student. So those were just some of the ones that I wanted to highlight. Next up, some of the interview questions were to answer. What research have I done in sustainability and why it matters? So before I came over here and started my master's program, I knew sustainability was important, but I don't think I ever really understood how in depth and how connected it is with business and how important it is. I've done limited research on sustainability in regards to the presentations and the modules that we've had to prepare for class in relation to the projects that we presented and had to do some sustainability research on. Um, but understanding that sustainability is not just environment, it's equality, it's about peace, it's about good health and well-being of the people in the community and the business. um, I have come to understand why it is so important and that there are many different beneficial aspects of sustainability that is not just about keeping the environment clean. So I think it's very important and it's something that needs to be continually analyzed, and I will continue to do research on those subjects as it's necessary. Reflecting on my knowledge and experience this past year, I definitely will be able to use this, my experience here in the United Kingdom towards my profession. Obviously, with the big goal of becoming a hospital administrator. But even in the early stages of my career, in whatever role that might be, the experience and the diversity that I've gotten to be a part of, I think, is one of the most notable experiences that I've had. Getting to interact with people of different cultures and from different backgrounds and origins, and understanding how they approach situations, how their views and their traditions influence the way that they think and the way that they act, has been very enlightening to me. Coming from a small town and studying in a small town, I knew there was a lot more that the world had to offer, and I just hadn't been exposed to it yet. So the exposure that I've gained here in the United Kingdom, I think, by far, aside from the academic progress that I've made, the cultural diversity and understanding that I've obtained is one of the most beneficial aspects of studying international that I will undoubtedly be able to use in whatever profession I come to in my future. So what do I understand about responsible management and why I think it matters to business? Um, so somewhat like sustainability, um, responsible management is not just about the environment or the economic effects of business, but it also can include understanding and knowing, being mindful, caring, ethical, and inspiring to your employees. So, as a responsible manager, being able to embody just those few aspects of responsible management. Obviously, there are many more. But those were some of the aspects of it that connected with me and why I mentioned those ones specifically. Um, I think those are really key to a business, not only just providing a service, but being able to have a positive impact not only on society, but to its surrounding community as well as the employees that they employ. And, it's all part of um, it's all part of the calculations to a successful business. It's not just the profits that you're able to make at the end of each quarter. It's having a positive impact on people beyond profits. A situation where my team had a problem. I'm going to revert back to our Portugal trip, that consultation activity that we did with them. We often forget in a classroom that some of the best resources we have are the ones teaching us. And when we're given a task by them that we think we aren't allowed to ask for help. So during the consultation in Portugal, my group and I had run into an issue establishing a value proposition that we would be able to present to the company. And so our solution was we had selected the cohort advisors, Robert, and we sat down and had lunch with him one day and discussed with him our project, where we were at, what we were struggling with, and kind of were just looking not for him to give us the answers, but to share with us his experiences and his views of the product and the work that we had done so far and how he might see that it was successful. And his contributions to us and his insights that he provided were extremely beneficial, and we ended up using them in our presentation to the company. Uh, and uh, our presentation went very well. I think it was received very well by the company. And it was all thanks to the information that he had shared with us. It was like a missing puzzle piece. We had our entire presentation ready to go, but we were just missing that key information, and that key perspective that Robert shared with us that allowed everything to fall in place for us. And it worked out very well in our benefit. So we often forget that the best resources we have are the ones standing just in front of us, and that just because you're in a classroom doesn't mean you can't ask for help. So being able to ask him for help and have him share his perspective with us was extremely beneficial, and led to the success of the project. I wouldn't do anything differently, potentially ask him for help a day earlier than we did, but ultimately, like I said, I mean, receiving his perspective at the time in the place that we did, it worked out perfectly for our group and allowed everything to fall into place. Um, so yeah, I mean, that was a fantastic experience, and very thankful for the support and just being able to ask somebody for help, not having to do anything super crazy, but just being like, hey, can I get your opinion on this? And being able to use that forward. My top three characteristics for for a successful manager, would be ethical, open-minded, and positive. I think these three characteristics are extremely important. You want an ethical manager, somebody who's going to be inclusive and show equality to all of their workers, regardless of age, race, gender, um, any of those characteristics, and really just allow everybody the equal opportunity, as well as, maintain ethical business practices, making sure that they're doing everything by the book, and they're not going to take unnecessary risks, that is going to negatively affect not only the employees but the business and even potentially society. um, I think open-mindedness is also extremely important. um, Everybody has their own experiences and everybody has value. So being able to have an open mind and hear and listen to employees when they would like to share experiences with you, or the values, or sharing even their cultural perspectives on things, all of that information, and having an open mind and being able to listen to others and what they have to share, their information that they have to share with you, can be very beneficial to the business. Even if it doesn't change the direction of the company immediately, it can help, not only the manager but the business, shift in a direction away from something, or versus moving them in a specific direction, but being, sharing with them that maybe this isn't the right way to go because they've had experience doing it that way and it didn't work out. And then lastly was positivity. I'm a very optimistic person, and I feel like a lot of people respond better to positivity. So being able to come into the office and have a positive outlook, provide positive feedback, and just create a positive energy in an office. It's enjoyable for everybody, but it also cultivates a very strong environment that, contributes to productivity, um, job satisfaction, um, and just all around. I think it also contributes to employees being comfortable, being open-minded and sharing their experience. If you have a positive manager versus somebody who's more negative, a little bit of optimism can go a really long way in providing a safe and comfortable environment where people are able to flourish. So those are the three that I think are most important um, in a successful manager. I really hope you guys enjoyed hearing a little bit about my professional development journey. It was a great experience to be able to share with you guys and also being able to look back at what I've done this past year. There's a lot more work for me to do professionally, but I think I've taken really strong strides this past year in my professional development, and I will continue to do so for the years to come. Thank you very much for listening to me, and feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Thank you very much. Bye.